Hello everyone, this is Kona, and thank you for tuning in to another TF2 commentary. Now this is part 2 of coming up with some new kind of crazy ideas for weapons of all the 9 classes. And I covered the first 5 classes in part 1, and in this video I'm going to cover the last 4, and that's going to be the Engineer, the Medic, the Sniper, and the Spy. So starting off with the Engineer, I think it'll be really neat to give the Engineer mini dispensers. Now I know when the mini sentry first came out with the gunslinger, it completely changed the way that Engineer was played. No longer you had to like hunker down behind level 3 and play defensive. All of a sudden you can pick Engineer and play very offensively and very mobile with that mini sentry. Now imagine a mini dispenser similar to the mini sentry in that you wouldn't be able to upgrade it or maybe even repair it. Now I was actually thinking about giving the Engineer 2 of these, to make him a little bit more mobile, and he'll be able to put these down quickly in multiple places. Also, maybe even if he had 2 of these, maybe even split up the ability to give out ammo and health. So one dispenser would be ammo and one dispenser would be health. So if you're an engineer and you're trying to be in an area where there is a health pack but no ammo, then you can put down the ammo dispenser to help out your team, and you'll be like, oh, okay, well they have the health pack there, so I can put my my health dispenser somewhere else. Now another idea that's kinda weird is to give the Engineer sort of like a turret that followed him, sort of like a robot. Imagine like a robot thing. I think there's actually an item that kind of looks like this, a robot that follows you around like a little pet, and it would be able to actually shoot, but it would be able to shoot in a very, a smaller range. I'm not talking mini sentry range. I think that's a little bit too much. But imagine it was a little bit smaller range, and it would offer some personal protection. It wouldn't kill people very fast because maybe it would be mini sentry kind of damage. But at least it'll give you an idea of who's around you, just in case you're not really paying attention or something like that. All of a sudden your auto turret thing starts shooting, and you'd be like, oh, there's someone right there. Again, this would be a very small area, and maybe this would make Engineer. I think this would make Engineer very mobile, because one of the things that I've noticed with Engineer is that people love to build their sentry guns first, and they love their sentry guns because it's the thing that gets them kills. And I think to make it so that people are not just hanging out by their sentry gun repairing it, you could have a little robot thing that follows you that would make the Engineer an offensive class, a very offensive class. Now a weapon like this could encourage sort of bad Engineer practices and not supporting your team, kind of like what I'm doing right now, where I don't have a dispenser or teleporter down. I should have put one down. But a weapon like this might be be like, oh well, the Engineer's offensive, I don't have to support my team anymore. So maybe this robot thing, as it follows you, it's going to be shooting and it's going to be taking damage, so you're going to have to repair it or something like that. So maybe it can only be repaired with a dispenser, and you can only get ammo back with a dispenser. That way, as an Engineer, you're sort of, you can't just hit it with your wrench and you're okay. You have to basically put out a dispenser, and that's the only way to basically replenish this thing. Otherwise, maybe it starts some sort of long cooldown where you can't make it respawn again. The next class is the Medic, and this class is very tricky because it's really hard to encourage someone, especially on a pub server, to actually play Medic, because I personally feel that the best class and the most important class in this game is the Medic. If you don't have health, you die. It's as simple as that. So the Medic can really save your life in a lot of situations. But the hard part is encouraging people to play this, because you really don't get any kills, as you can see. I'm just kind of helping other people get kills. Now MVM did introduce some pretty interesting ideas for the Medic, but it seems like those were really tailored towards MVM. I don't see something like that shield that was recently introduced. I don't really see something like that working too well in multiplayer where there's actual people. Imagine you just had that shield and you just charged forward with like 5 pyros under that shield. It would be insane. No one could kill you. So I think something like that is a little too much for multiplayer. Now I think it'll be kind of cool to give the Medic some sort of life-draining ability, maybe some sort of meta gun where you can point it at your friendlies, but if you point it at an enemy, it'll actually suck some of their life or something like that. And maybe it won't give them all your life, maybe it'll just give a percentage of your enemy's life, but something to do some damage to the enemy. Another idea is maybe as an Uber, you can have sort of like a reflecting damage type of Uber where any damage you take when you activate this Uber, any damage that you take, some of it will be reflected, maybe all of it will be reflected to the person who dealt that damage. So for a second, people would have to think like, oh, I can't just mindlessly blast this guy, even, you know, because I know some people who just shoot at regular Ubers. I don't know why, but they just shoot at them. So, you know, if you see this special type of Uber being activated, you know not to shoot them, and you know some certain classes will have to take care of them, like pyro air blasting and stuff like that. You know, not to shoot them, otherwise you're gonna take that damage. Now, I don't think this Uber should have complete invincibility like the regular Uber. It should be, you know, maybe normal healing, maybe a little bit faster healing. So, you know, you can still die if enough people focus you. But it'll, you know, if you're Ubered and you pop it just to be safe, it might make the person attacking you think twice about attacking you, because it's like, oh, well, I'm going to be doing all damage to these guys and I might die because of that. Now, another neat idea would be to have some sort of defibrillator weapon, and I'm not talking about the Battlefield 4 type of defibrillator where it like revives teammates. I think that's kind of weird for this game. But it would be like a melee weapon, but you would be able to charge it. So maybe the damage you actually do to the enemies would be proportional to how much you can actually charge it up. So if you just do a little zap really quickly, it won't do that much damage, but if you really want to do a lot of damage, you have to hold down a button or something to really charge these paddles, and then finally let it go and go zzz, and it's like zap someone with it. Next up is the sniper, and this is my favorite class because I love the huntsman. It's so much fun to use. Now, I think the sniper has enough sniper rifles as it is. Maybe they'll introduce more or something like that, but for now, he has a lot of sniper rifles to choose from, even reskins. So I think, oh, well, it'd be kind of interesting to give the sniper another bow. If you watched my crowd control video before, I really like the idea of ice arrows. This is something that was inspired by Dota 2. And these arrows, when you shoot them, on hit, would slow the enemy down temporarily, give them sort of like a little freezing effect. But the downside is you wouldn't be able to headshot them. So I know I've been headshotted a lot by huntsman snipers. Like, where did that arrow come from? And it's almost basically a one-shot kill. And so, you know, you wouldn't be able to headshot with this new ice arrow, but at least you'll be able to do some crowd control with it. Now, I'm sorry to take another idea from Dota 2, but you know, I like Dota 2. Maybe these can be Dota 2 promotional items. That'll be kind of neat. But it would be to give the sniper a power shot bow, and it would be something where it's kind of like the buff banner, where you have to, you know, actually do stuff. Maybe you have to get hits with the regular bow in order to build up this meter, and once this meter is full, the next arrow that you shoot is going to be a power shot arrow, and this one would maybe do more damage. Maybe it's automatically lit on fire or something like that, or maybe it just goes through multiple people or something like that. But it'll be, you know, something to sort of build up on, you know, where you can sort of keep track of, you know, how well you're doing as a sniper huntsman. I know it'd be kind of annoying to just basically spam arrows and miss all the time, but it'll be kind of neat to build up a meter as you play, and then finally, you know, after all those hits, unleash some sort of powerful arrow. Now, this next idea my brother came up with, and it was just so hilarious. And it's to give the sniper a blow dart gun, but the firing mechanics would be a little bit different. Now, if you played a traditional video golfing game before, you would know about the 3-click swing mechanic, where you click once, it starts to swing, and it makes this thing kind of move back on the screen. And you click again to set the power, and then the thing starts to return back to where it started, and then you click one more time in order to set the accuracy of the swing, I guess you could say. Now imagine something like that, where you had to actually sort of be accurate with this meter on the bottom. And he said that if you were not accurate, if you missed your last click on the bottom, that instead of blowing a dart, it would cause you to inhale the dart. You'll be like, and then you would like self-poison yourself. I thought that was just so hilarious, that you could actually poison yourself or hurt yourself that way. Now, I kind of think this firing mechanic is a little too complicated for a first-person shooter, so maybe they can make it so that it's like a combination of the loose cannon and the huntsman, where, you know, the longer you hold it, the further the dart will go, but if you hold it for too long, you accidentally, and then you choke on the dart and start poisoning yourself or something like that. Okay, so the last class is going to be the spy, and this is another idea that came from my brother. I thought it was very clever, and it's giving the spy a special revolver that would be able to make one fake shot while disguised. Now, if you played a lot of TF2, it's pretty easy to spot the spies that are disguised. It's basically the people who are running around and not really shooting or doing anything. They're kind of obvious. But imagine you'll be able to fake out people with this revolver that when you fired it for the first time after you're disguised, it would make, for the enemy team, it would animate as if that class had shot their weapon or did something, maybe swung their melee weapon or something like that. It would be a one-time fake out. By the way, I jumped there and it kind of pushed me back. I think they did some sort of thing where if you jump, you get shot by bullets. You start surfing. It's kind of weird. I don't know, I got to get used to that. But it would be a special revolver that would allow you to fake one enemy shot. It would look like you shot an actual weapon, so that if you really had to fake out someone, you would be able to basically act your way out of a situation by firing one shot. Now, this one shot wouldn't be able to do any damage. Its sole purpose is to just fake out the enemy. Now, if you were to fire again, that round would be live. It would be able to do damage, but it would immediately, like the regular revolvers in the game, would break your disguise. So you wouldn't be able to do damage while you're disguised. That's a little bit too OP. Now, when the red tape recorder first came out, everyone was so excited because we were like, finally, we can use a different sapper than the default one. On day one, it was a little broken. It downgraded things way too quickly, so they patched that. And nowadays, I don't really see people using that too much. So, it would be kind of interesting to introduce a new sapper. Now, I know this may sound a little crazy, but imagine a new sapper for the spy that when you put it on, it would turn a sentry gun against its team for a short amount of time. Maybe this... Oh, got a 3 kill and into the saw. But yeah, imagine a sapper where you put it on a sentry gun and it turned on its team, started shooting at its own teammates for a short amount of time. Maybe something like this, when you put it on, it would be able to be broken off with one wrench hit or something like that. Because maybe if an engineer is by his sentry gun and he sees this happening, he can immediately stop it from happening. But if you leave a sentry gun unattended, no one watching it, and a spy like this, a spy comes and saps it, maybe instead of damaging it, it would be able to make the sentry gun turn on its team, so basically start shooting the other team for you for a short amount of time, and then after a while it goes back to normal. I think that'll be just hilarious. I know it seems like a crazy idea, but I think that'll be really funny. So those are some interesting and sometimes crazy ideas for some new weapons and game mechanics for TF2. And I'm not saying any of these will be implemented. They're probably not. They're pretty crazy sometimes. They would need a lot of rethinking before actually implementation, if it were to actually be implemented. But I'm just saying, like, TF2, we've been bombarded with cosmetics recently, and although cosmetics are very nice, it allows you to customize your character, I feel like the game for me still lies in the gameplay, the actual multiplayer, the shooting people, the working together with other people. And that's what's really fun about this. So I think it'll be kind of interesting to spice up the game a little bit with more weapons. Now, I would like to know about some interesting ideas that you guys have for these 4 classes. That's the engineer, the medic, the sniper, and the spy. Let me know in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.